This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea.
What? You got a quest?
I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. This week is another Future Yacht episode, and we are going to have a close look at a very exciting vessel, the Aventura 45S. Today, we will 1. Review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels. 2. Do a full tour asking, what would Sylvia say? 3. Naval gaze at an innovation and or adjustment that just might make life aboard a little easier. 4. Have a look at the used market for 3 to 5-year-old pre-owned comparables. And 5. Give it a Dave score and compare the results with all our previously reviewed yachts. As always, all this fun will be sandwiched between a pairing of wine, which was very difficult to find, and a work of art from the same region as the guest yacht, in an effort to capture the culture and people who gave birth to these wonderful vessels. Waves, wine, art, and ideas. What a civilized way to spend 30 minutes. So let's get going. From high above Vancouver, we head southeast across the Atlantic and down the African continent to Cape Town and the yards of Phoenix Marine Manufacturing, home of last week's Future Yacht, the innovative, exquisite 60 Solar Sail. From here, we head north, up the African coast, all the way into the Med and the yards of Aventura Catamarans in Tunisia, and the home of this week's Future Yacht, the Aventura 45S. Finally, we hop south to the vineyards of this week's wine pairing, Muscat Tunis, Felix Habib & Co. In Tunisia, the art of winemaking dates back to around 800 BC, during the time of the Phoenicians. After the Turkish conquest of 1574, wine production was forbidden. More recently, wine production resumed when Tunisia was a French protectorate, 1883 to 1963. Most Tunisian wines was produced by French oenologists. Much of it was exported to France until the 1970s. Wine cooperatives now produce 80% of the wine, which is consumed mostly by tourists. Since the privatization of some parts of these cooperatives, Tunisia has successfully entered the international wine market. Muscat of Alexandria had been, and still is, one of the important wine grapes grown in the country. Currently, vineyards are concentrated in the regions around Naval, Bizerte, Tunis, Beja, and Gendoba. Please forgive my pronunciation. 70% of Tunisian wine carries the French AOC mark of quality. The coolest regions are on the coast, and northern Bizerte produces Tunisia's specially fine, sweet muscats. Some experts believe that muscat has been produced here since Carthaginian times. There are also well-known sparkling muscats. Ripe aromas of rose, lilac, peach, and melon surge from a glass of this delicious wine. These muscat wines can be used as appetizer wines or served with seafood and grilled fish. Oh, that's lovely. Almost a nice wine. Anyways, let's go have a look at that boat. Cheers. Hopping on board our new comparables, the 4 we're looking at this week are the FP Elba 45, the Lagoon 46, the Leopard 45, and the Aventura 45S. As far as upwind sail area goes, they're all within like a square meter of each other, with the Aventura 45S just 1 square meter ahead of the pack at 125 square meters. Hopping onto the cabin tops, you can see here that all of them have some sort of fly lounge, the Lagoon 46 sort of being the lamest of the bunch with those kind of pads that tilt up. The Elba 45 has a very nice mid-helm, giving you access and visibility to the fly lounge, the cockpit, and the saloon. The Lagoon 46, you are isolated up on the top. The Leopard 45, again, a lovely mid-helm with full access to fly lounge, cockpit, and saloon. And the Aventura 45, same as the Leopard, very nice mid-helm on, oddly, the port side as opposed to the standard starboard side, but access to the fly lounge, the cockpit, and the saloon. The Leopard 45 is the only one with the forward door access to a true forward cockpit. All of the others have a sort of a faux forward cockpit. Just looking at the dimensions of these units, you can see the Aventura has some beam on her. We'll have a closer look at that in the stats. As far as pricing goes, look at this. Your Aventura is 547,000 euros. The closest one to that is 623,000 euros, a full 75,000 euros more. And wait till you see what you get for your 547,000 euros. Hopping into the saloon here, you can see that all of them are quite expansive, but just look visually at the size of that Aventura saloon compared to the others in this category. They're all very nicely laid out. The Elba, they've gone with a sort of a coffee table in the saloon that doesn't take up as much space and gives you a sense of greater space. The galley is quite open. There's not a lot of bolster points there. The Lagoon 46, nice aft galley with a semi-U there, giving you some bolster points. You've got a L-shaped settee in the forward starboard side. They go with a full-sized kitchen table there. I would swap it out and put some as coffee table to give a greater sense of space. You're eating outside 90% of the time anyways. The Leopard 45, again, you have full U-shaped settee in the aft. Pseudo U-shaped galley forward. Forward-facing nav, and of course you've got a very nice dimensioned cockpit in the aft and cockpit in forward. The Aventura, a very spacious, deep aft cockpit, a lot of space there. Access doors you can see in the aft to your side hulls right out of the cockpit, which is something completely different for this size. Moving into your saloon, you've got a really nice forward U-shaped settee there. You've got an L-shaped galley in the aft starboard. And you'll see when we get into the pictures, it really is a nice feeling environment. Hopping down into the cabins, this is where the Aventura just leaps off the spec page at you. Have a look at that. You have a full private hull for the owner. You have a full three-sided walk-around berth for the owner. Lots of space and a beautiful head. Lots of storage, as you will see. Really quite something. Remember, this is a full three-sided walk-around athwartship berth in a 45-foot catamaran. And as you hop across to the other side, you have two more berths like that. One in the aft, which is down low, one in the bow, which is a little up higher, similar to a balance, and then you have a bunk room in between. So this is really a completely innovative layout for this size of vessel. Looking across the Leopard, you're used to that. You've got the starboard side owner's cabin hull, and the Leopard 45 does suffer a bit for access up the master bed. For making it, those cutouts are so small, you're going to be crawling over that mattress. Whereas the 50, you're actually able to get up a little bit further. The Lagoon 46, you've got a fair amount of space along the sides of those fore aft berths there, and the 46 master hull is very comfortable. It's just not as spacious as the Aventura 45. Elba 45, again, they do a good job in giving you access on that fore-aft berth to make that bed. It's just the feeling and finishes inside the FP, it's a little too plastic for me. The lagoon feels good, nice veneers and soft furnishings. The Leopard 45 is sort of between them, a little more industrial. As the bunch of them, I would put the Aventura and the Lagoon sort of in a tie, and some of the unique aspects of the Aventura that I saw on the 37 and the 50 motor yacht really put it a step ahead. Heading into the numbers, so sail away USD. You can see your Aventura is sitting there at 868. The Lagoon is the next at 930. Then you've got the Leopard at $1,078,000 and the Fountain Peugeot at $1,088,000. As we go across length overall, it's the Lagoon at 45.9. The Beam, it's the Lagoon at 26.1. The next, all of the others are very, very close. 24.8 for the Fountain, 24.6 for the Aventura, 24.1 for the Leopard. Draft, it's the Fountain Peugeot. It has the least draft at 1.2 meters. The next one is going to be the Lagoon at 1.35. Then it's the Aventura at 1.4 and the Leopard at 1.5. Bridge deck clearance. This is a new data point that I'm trying to gather. I got it out of the Fountain Peugeot. They've got 2.75 feet. And I got it out of Leopard. They've got 2.75 feet. Air draft, it's the Lagoon at 76.1 feet, but everybody's pretty darn close. You got the Aventura at 72, the Leopard at 70, and the Fountain Peugeot at 66 feet. Light ship displacement, it's the Fountain Peugeot is the lightest at 14, I don't know why I highlighted that in green. It is the Aventura, well in the lead, at 12 long tons. Next is the Fountain Peugeot at 14 long tons. Then is the Leopard at 14.9. And then is the Lagoon, the big girl, at 15.7, 15.8. So that Aventura, that is a nice light ship displacement. Payload capacity is a data point I'm trying to gather from manufacturers. You should start talking to them and asking them to please include that in their specifications. That's an important figure. Upwind sail area, it's the Aventura in the lead at 125 square meters. As we head down to engines, the Lagoon has the largest engines, standard engines at 57 horsepower, Fountain Peugeot at 50, and then the Leopard and Aventura are at 45. Fuel tanks, it's the Leopard, or the Lagoon, at 1,040 liters. The Leopard and Aventura are next at 700. As far as water capacity, it's the Aventura at 800 liters, followed by the Leopard at 780. And black water capacity, again, another data point I'm trying to capture. Talk to your manufacturers. It is the Leopard at 170 liters and the Aventura at 80 liters. The data points below this are ones that I'm struggling to find, but as I mentioned in the last video, I'd appreciate your support as you talk to your manufacturers if you're looking at buying a boat, and ask them to start including this. Again, interior square footage area. We have it for homes and apartments. Why can't we have it for our liveaboard yachts? Exterior square footage, usable exterior square footage area. Again, we have it for our homes and our lot sizes. Why can't we have it for our yachts? Interior enclosed storage, exterior lockers. We should have the cubic foot capacity or cubic meter capacity of these included. They're vital statistics. And we have them on cars, and as far as the boot or the trunk or whatever you're calling it, we know what that is. We know what the passenger compartment cubic footage is. We should know it here. And total fridge and freezer capacity. These are elements that we should be able to see immediately. Okay, heading into the technical numbers here as far as the actual hull configurations or hull materials, I would say that Fountain Peugeot has it by a hair. They've got vacuum-infused foam core. a mixture of polyester and vinyl ester over glass with a final coat of epoxy primer. The Aventura is monolithic polyester below the waterline, so a solid hull below the waterline, vacuum polyester sandwich with multi-axial fiberglass and PVC foam core above the waterline, and a resin and isophthalic MPG gel coat. Looking at these data points here on system voltage and battery and solar capacity, again, I'd like you to talk to your manufacturers, get them to start including this. I did find for all of them, they're all 12-volt systems. As far as standard battery bank capacity, the Lagoon has 5 kilowatt hours, and the Aventura has about 8 kilowatt hours. Not too bad. I could not find max factory battery capacity, max factory solar, or solar panel type for any of them. Looking at the numbers indicative of performance, sail area to displacement, or an indicator of power, it's the Aventura in the lead by a long margin at 24.6. The next closest is the Leopard at 20.2. Then you've got the Lagoon at 19.8 and the Fountain Peugeot at 18.5. Displacement to hull length at the waterline is an indicator of heaviness. Here it's the lowest number wins, and that is the Aventura at 133.5. Now let's get down to the KSP, or the indicator of theoretical speed at 10 knots of wind, and this indicates sort of percentage of wind speed capability. So we are looking at the Aventura with a commanding lead at 76% of wind speed. The next closest one is the Lagoon and Leopard at 65, and the Fountain Peugeot at 63. So that should make you sit back on your heels and look at this incredible value that Aventura is offering in a 45-foot yacht. Okay, hopping aboard. What would Sylvia say? Well, honestly, this is about one of the first 45-foot yachts that I think Sylvia would say yes to. This is a very handsome yacht. Look at the features as we swing around here. You've got that fabulous cockpit, that fabulous fly lounge, a faux front cockpit. You've got direct cockpit access into the hulls. You've got a wonderful mid-helm there, cup holders, easy access to your winches. Look at your cockpit here, how nicely laid out, how spacious it is. And remember, you have direct access to your hulls. As we enter into the saloon, you can see what I was talking about as far as the shapes and the finishes. Note the off to the right here, where those two wine glasses are sitting, that curved edge of those shelves. Little design elements like that you will find throughout this vessel. If the 50 motor yacht and the 37 sailing yacht were any indication at all. We're going to head over now to the nav desk area and have a look around at the saloon from here. Again, they've gone with a very nice coffee table style in the center here, instead of overpowering it with a full-blown kitchen table. So much more like the Fountain Peugeot element. We'll head over to the port side for another view across this. Again, you can see a nice nav station there. It's not forward facing, but it is forward. And your galley there, you've got your compression post surrounded by a very comfortable little bench area there, completing that wonderful lounging space you've got here. Your TV is off to the right. Let's head to the center here and have a seat looking back. You can see your TV there very nicely up on the port side bulkhead there. You've got your microwave, convection oven, your kitchen stove tops there. Nice opening all the way back into the aft cockpit. And speaking of the aft cockpit, let's head back there now and go through the port side access to the aft cabin here. We're looking actually the aft entrance to the owner's hull. So the port side hull is the full owner's hull. You can see the arrow taking us down inside here into the owner's hull. And here is your perspective as we enter. You can see a beautiful full walk around, 3-side access, queen size bed, nice detail on the headboard. This is at a normal bed height, not an elevated one. You can see a little settee over on the left side of the frame here, and you're looking all the way back to the head and bathroom through some of the storage areas, which we'll look at here. So let's head then forward into this sort of walk-through closet space area on the way to the head. So you can see lots of storage, both on the inboard side on the right and the outboard side on the left. And there is your door into the head. So let's move forward then into the head itself. And you'll see, again, a nice sized single sink, lots of storage. You've got a shower up front, really comfortable space. Okay, let's move back out onto into the aft cockpit and over to the starboard side and enter. This is the main entrance then for the aft guest cabin, as you can see right here. We're going to enter down those stairs and move over to the forward edge of this cabin and give you a perspective back looking out that access into the cockpit. Again, a very comfortable queen-size bed at the right height. Lots of storage all around you. Just a really, really nice environment. Okay, coming back out onto the cockpit, let us head back into the saloon and over to the starboard entrance into the bunk room here. So this is just ahead of that lovely aft guest cabin we saw. Good looking bunk room. You can see the textured finishes on the wall. You've got storage, nice lighting finishes. Not a cramped space at all. A really, really great space for guests. Heading forward now into the final guest cabin, which again is a sort of three-sided access, pseudo three-sided access, slightly raised but not brutally raised, as you see in many boats with the forward athwartship berth. But I mean, wow, we've just seen 4 cabins, 3 of which are extremely comfortable. The bunk room is fantastic for storage or kids. What a terrific setup. Okay, let's spin this puppy around again, have a look at this beautiful forward lounging area here. They got some teak deck there on the longeron. They got some beautiful cup holders, some integrated sun pads there. I just think they have done a spectacular job and value for the money. Okay, we're moving into some navel gazing now. Out on the open water, freedom, serenity, and relaxation until you drop the anchor and the stress starts. Because you never really know how your anchor lands, if it's dug in enough to stay in place, and how easy it will be to retrieve it. Anchoring hasn't changed much over the last millennia, but finally there are a few industrious companies bringing technology to bear on this age-old issue. One of them is VisionAnchor, a state-of-the-art buoy and underwater camera attached to your anchor, giving you real-time visibility of your anchor from your smartphone or tablet. The VisionAnchor app works with the high-precision tracking buoy to monitor the true position of your anchor and sounds an alarm so you can react before it's too late. Due to its unique shape and markings, the buoy cannot be mistaken for a mooring ball. The HD camera descends below the surface to find the perfect spot to drop your anchor. You can watch live as your anchor falls in the right spot, and as you back up, you'll know that it's definitely set in place. When night falls, your camera will revert to infrared night vision mode so you can monitor your anchor 24/7. With the anchor set, you can activate an alarm radius of 3 meters to 20 meters using the VisionAnchor app. Should your anchor leave this radius, you'll be notified immediately via an alarm on your phone, enabling you to react and keep your vessel protected. When it's time to raise the anchor and head back out to sea, live footage of your anchor allows the operator of the boat and the person on the bow to successfully and quickly free it up. Okay, back on board, spinning her around and having a look at this wonderful helm position, that fly lounge. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Heading into pre-owned comparables, what do we compare this amazing yacht to? Well, first up is a Leopard 45 2021. Bearing in mind our sail-away estimated price for our Aventura 45S is $868,419 US dollars. So this Leopard, they're looking for $849,000 for a 2-year-old boat. I'm sorry, as much as I love the Leopard, the Aventura is going to have it. Next up, we're looking at a Lagoon 46, a 2021 2-year-old boat. They're looking for $875,000 versus $868,419 for my sail-away Aventura. And I get full walk-around berths and cockpit access to my hulls and sorry, it's the Aventura. Next up is the 2021 Fountain Peugeot Elba 45. They're looking for $885,000 for a 2-year-old boat versus $868,000 for my brand new Aventura 45S. The finishes in the Aventura, I like them more. I like the cockpit access to both hulls. Sorry, it's the Aventura. Okay, something completely different. We're looking at a 2022 Current Marine 46, a very, very sexy boat. They want $1.4 million for a 1-year-old boat versus my $868,000. Obviously, this is a carbon fiber, high-performance daggerboard boat. But for my purposes, I don't think I'd get Sylvia on it. It's the Aventura again. And finally, we're looking at a 019 Nautitech 46. You're looking at a 3-year-old boat. They're looking $650,000 versus $868,000. I do like the Nautitech. It's a beautifully finished boat. I would consider saving $200,000, but I'd probably end up with the Aventura. So clean sweep for the Aventura. Now, monohull heresy. What do we compare this to on the monohull side? Well, first up is one of my all-time favorites. It's a 2018 Hansa 588 with the hard top and all the toys. They're looking for $829,000 versus $868,000 on the Aventura 45. I would pause. I would think hard because I really love the Hansa 588, but that's me. Sylvia, she wouldn't tolerate the heeling, and that beautiful Aventura has a full walk-around berth at standard bed height, along with a whole bunch of other things. As much as I hate to admit it, it would be the Aventura. Next up is a Bavaria C57, a 2020, 3-year-old boat, and a very lovely boat with the walnut finish inside, but they want $1.5 million. Now, I think this is an outlier even on Yacht World. I can't imagine anybody paying $1.5 million US for a 2020 Bavaria C57. Needless to say, it would be the Aventura. Next is a 2018 Passport Vista 545. I'm in love with this boat. Walked one at Annapolis. The quality, the finish, everything inside. This is such a classic, luxurious, wonderful, warm vessel. They're looking $845,000 versus $868,000. This is probably the only one in the bunch that would be really at the tipping point, and if it was me, I'd probably go this one, but to have my wife on board, it would be the Aventura. Next up is a 2021 Jeanneau 54. They want 800 grand for a 2-year-old Jeanneau 54 versus the 868. There wouldn't even be a hesitation. It would be the Aventura. And finally, we're looking at a 2019 Beneteau Oceanus 51-1. It's a 52-foot boat. They're looking 500 grand. The 368 would be enough to make me pause. But honestly, for my application, you can't beat the Aventura. I think the Aventura has had a clean sweep of all 10 comparables. So there you go. Moving on to the Dave score. How did she do? Well, we have gone through an awful lot of yachts, but boy, that green line showed up pretty darn quick, especially for a 45-foot yacht. And she's the highest scoring 45-foot yacht, scoring even above some 50s here and 55s. So she is scored an 80. The elegance was 8 out of 10 on the interior. Now, again, this is based on renders, but bearing in mind what I saw so far on their product in the 50 motor yacht and the 37 sailing yacht. Exterior is a 7 out of 10 in elegance. Interior comfort, 8 out of 10, which is extraordinarily high for a 45. Exterior comfort, an 8 out of 10. Quality is an 8 out of 10 simply based on what I've seen in their product so far. It is a high-quality product. Performance, 8 out of 10, especially given the competitors. Lazy Sailor, 9 out of 10. Everything runs right where you want it. Everything's in reach. Condo, 8 out of 10, which is an extraordinarily high score for a 45. Geek score, 8 out of 10. Value for money, a really solid 8 out of 10. Maybe even a 9 out of 10 on this one. This is an exceptional yacht for the buck. Our art of the region this week is Hamadi Mohamed, fisherman on the deck of the old port of Bizerte painting in Tunisia. Hamadi Mohamed is a Tunisian artist born in Bizerte, Tunisia in 1950. Hamadi has a diploma in fine arts from National Institute of Arts and Technology of Tunis and has worked in different fields of media, publishing, and interactive events from 1978 until 2011. The old port of the city of Bizerte in Tunisia is still a very active harbor for fishermen. This painting captures the daily life of fishermen on the deck, preparing to sail. Well, that's our waves, wine, art, and ideas for another week. As you can tell, I do like what Aventura is up to. I think they've got a quality product. I think they're doing all the right stuff with the finishes inside. I think they're listening to the market, and especially the wives of the market. When you look at what they've done in the accommodation hulls of this 45, really is a spectacular vessel for the size. And I mean, for the dollar or not for the dollar, it is an exceptional value. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. Cheers.